I am the daughter of the richest man in Great Shu, and my grandfather was a benefactor to the Duke's manor. To repay the favor, they sought my hand in marriage. They embezzled my dowry to secretly support the rebels. After the deed was done, he wiped out my entire Kui family. Me noble husband had someone pour a cup of poisoned wine down my throat. You, a mere merchant's daughter, have enjoyed the riches of the Duke's mansion. Now, you can go in peace. I died with hatred in my heart. Opening my eyes again, rebirth brought me back to the day he demanded my dowry. This time, I won't. Let only men who live off women would use their wife's dowry. Husband, do you want to marry into my Kui family? 1 second, I was still arguing with my husband, and suddenly I was reborn. Me husband looked at me with a face full of contempt. Kuiyue, stop making trouble out of nothing. Asking you to put your dowry into the public fund is to earn more money. You are a merchant's daughter. Your backing is the Duke's manor. Rest assured, I won't get greedy with your dowry. Later on, we can buy some estates in the capital suburbs, and the profits will all be yours. His face was full of fantasies, as if my dowry was already in his bag. It was just like this in my previous life. We got into a fight because we had been childless for years. He felt I made him lose face outside, and that I was jealous, refusing to let him take his favorite chambermaid as a concubine. But those were the conditions we agreed upon in the beginning. We agreed that he could only take a concubine if he was childless at 40. We had only been married for 3 years, and he couldn't wait. It was like this in my previous life, too. I felt inferior about my status as a merchant's daughter, and always humbled myself. Wang Yu wanted to take a concubine, his distant cousin. I've had feelings for her since we were children. I already feel guilty enough that I can't make her my wife. She is just a concubine. She won't get in your way. When I refused, he pressured me with the fact that I had been childless for years. Otherwise, he would say I was the one climbing the social ladder by marrying him. Unlike his eldest and second brothers, who married high-born noble ladies that could assist them in their official careers. Later, he even set his sights on my dowry. A dowry is the foundation of one's standing in the husband's family. How could I possibly just hand it over? But in the end, I still couldn't keep it. Not only the dowry, I couldn't even save the entire Kuai family. Later I learned that Wang Yu had long since thrown in his lot with the second prince, and my dowry was his pledge of allegiance. The expenses required for rebellion are frighteningly huge, and my dowry couldn't even satisfy them. The Kui family at that time, because of me, had no choice but to board this pirate ship. Later, when the second prince took the throne, not only was my Kui clan unrewarded, we were purged. After my death, my soul drifted beside Wang Yu, and only then did I find out. The Kui family has millions in assets. Why doesn't your highness take it for yourself? The Kui family has long had rebellious intent. As the person who sleeps beside her, I know this best. It turned out it was him who was constantly slandering us in front of the second prince. He turned right around and promoted his cousin to legal wife, even insisting on a grand wedding ceremony. Now that the Kui family has fallen, no one can stop us anymore. She has enjoyed the glory of the Duke's mansion these past few years. That counts as doing right by her. I was filled with hatred, but I had already become a lonely ghost. Not only could I not take revenge, I had to watch helplessly as their children and grandchildren filled the hall. It was also then that I found out. My whole life was nothing but a joke. Me husband married me for money. The one he loved was his cousin, his childhood sweetheart. I, the legitimate wife, am the stepping stone that brings them boundless wealth and honor. Pulling back my thoughts, I had to tuck away my hatred. It is just that my hands beneath my sleeves had likely been pinched until they bled. Wang Yu, standing before me, made no attempt to hide his contempt for me. I looked at him and said firmly, "Only a man who lives off women would use his wife's dowry. Does my husband wish to marry into my Kui family?" Perhaps never having expected me to speak like this, Wang Yu's face was filled with disbelief. Then came the rage born of humiliation. You are unreasonable. I am doing this for your own good. You, a mere merchant. I interrupted immediately, really having no patience to hear him speak any longer. Yes, I am just a lowly merchant. But this merchant daughter back then was someone your duke's manor begged to marry. Since you are so high and mighty, stop thinking about my dowry. Don't let that filthy money dirty your eyes. Ridiculous disdain on his lips. But who doesn't know those little schemes in his heart? I didn't want to either. If father hadn't forced me back then, how would it have been your turn to be my wife? Reeking of copper stench, unfit for refined company. Wang Yu was enraged and started speaking without restraint. So it turns out not only do you have an issue with me, but you are also dissatisfied with father. Since you have so many grievances, I'll speak to father, and we will divorce. He only dares to act tough in front of me. If father knew about this, he wouldn't get off lightly either. Back then, the ducal mansion sought to marry me, a merchant's daughter, in order to repay a kindness. Everyone praised the ducal mansion for being honorable, divorcing after only 3 years of marriage. Wouldn't that make him a laughingstock, father? That is, the Duke of Zhongguo would never agree to it. So, the kindness my Kui family showed the ducal mansion is my life-saving talisman here. Wang Yu is the 3rd son of the 1st branch of the ducal mansion. Although people often say, youngest son, eldest grandson, but in the ducal mansion that doesn't apply. Big brother will inherit the duke's estate in the future. Second brother has a talent for studying. Although he didn't enter officialdom, he became a disciple of a great scholar. Only Wang Yu was good for nothing with pen or sword. He spent his days pestering cats and dogs, fooling around with a gang of rich playboys. But who could have guessed that it was exactly this kind of person who sacrificed the 100-odd lives of my Kui family to latch on to the second prince? He has always looked down on me. In his eyes, I was a lowly merchant, leveraging a favor to demand a return. A woman follows her husband after marriage. My only reliance in the manor is him and my money. In my past life, that was indeed the case. It was precisely during this argument that I lost the initiative. Without the dowry, the Kui family had also boarded the pirate ship, with no way back. Doing it over again, I won't make the same mistakes. Since the heavens gave me a chance, I am going to try to defy the heavens and change my fate. 1 month since rebirth, the mid-autumn family banquet has arrived. The Duke of Zhongguo's mansion was decked with lanterns and streamers, filled with happy chatter. I used to dislike this kind of occasion the most. Eldest sister, in-law, and second sister. In-law are both from distinguished families. In front of them, I often feel uncomfortable. It is not like Wang Yu doesn't know my situation. It is just that I didn't take it to heart. That is all. The only one she has ever held in her heart is Jiangfu. Reasonably speaking, Jiangfu's position in the Duke's residence was awkward. She is a distant relative of the Duke's wife, her parents both dead. Because of Wang Yu's promise that he could only take a concubine if he had no sons by 40, she still has no name or status. But looking at her, you couldn't see a hint of uneasiness. It is simply due to Wang Yu's attitude. Wang Yu holds her dear, so others naturally give her a bit of face. Thinking back now, my past life was truly too stifling. But now, not anymore. I took my seat alone. Everyone had their own thoughts, their gazes drifting between me and Wang Yu. Oh, and Jiangfu snuggling up to Wang Yu. This 8 treasure duck is really good, huh? This chili ginkgo isn't bad either. Leaving so much delicious food uneaten, these people are seriously sick. After a round of drinking, everyone's enthusiasm had waned a bit. I beg father and mother to fulfill the wish of Fuhr and me. We truly love each other. Now we don't ask for anything, only to give Fuhr a status so she can stay by my side legitimately. Father, mother, seeing as Fuhr practically grew up at your knees, have pity on her, lest word gets out, saying our Duke's mansion bullies an orphan girl. Wang Yu. This bastard actually took the opportunity to take a massive shit. Zhang isn't someone to be trifled with either. I beg uncle and aunt to grant our wish. I lost my parents when I was little, and it was uncle and aunt who took me in. In my heart, I have long regarded uncle and aunt as my own father and mother. I also truly like cousin. I know cousin is already married, but we are truly in love. The entire banquet was dead silent. At this moment, no one dared to provoke the Duke and Duchess, especially since their faces were pitch black, looking like they were about to explode at any moment. The Duchess seemed to be holding back again and again. Her chest heaved up and down. Is everyone around here dead? Your third master and cousin miss are both drunk. Hurry up and help them back. Mother, I am not drunk. Wang Yu broke free from the servants. He threw himself down at the Duchess's feet. Mother, I beg you. I don't like Lady Kui at all. The one I truly like is Cousin Fu. Seeing they couldn't pull him away, the servants turned to pull Jiang Fu. Wang Yu saw this and couldn't help shouting frantically, "Don't you touch her. She is already carrying my child. Mother, Fu is already carrying my child. I've been married to Kui for years. She hasn't gotten pregnant for ages, and everyone outside is mocking me. I beg father and mother to grant my wish." At this moment, Wang Yu's eyes were filled only with his cousin Fu, ruthlessly trampling my dignity as the lawful wife into the ground. The Duke of Zhongguo, who had been silent all along, had to speak up now. Third daughter, in-law, today I am handing this rebellious son over to you to deal with. Whether you beat him to death or kick him out, I won't say a word against it. At this moment, all eyes were focused on me. These words were simply roasting me over a fire. Hand him over to me to deal with. Not to mention that he, Wang Yu, is a young master of the Duke's manor. But in this world, women are inherently in a weak position. Originally, there was a promise that he could only take a concubine if he was childless at 40. I was the one in the right, but only before I opened my mouth to punish him. In this world, only men are allowed to make mistakes. No, they aren't making mistakes. Only women are at fault. Having no sons is because the woman can't bear them. If a man has 3 wives and 4 concubines, it is because the woman couldn't hold his heart. Men are born to be the sky for women, and the heavens are never wrong. The Duke of Zhongguo asked me, simply because he also thinks there is nothing wrong with a man having 3 wives and 4 concubines. Many thoughts flashed through my mind, and in the blink of an eye, I made a decision. I started wailing. It is this daughter. In-laws failing, married for many years, yet I haven't been able to bear children for my husband. Although my maiden family has shown kindness to our family, none of that is as important as your descendants. Husband. The promise to only take a concubine if sonless at 40, it seems it is better to void it. I ask myself and find I have no face to face my husband. Today, I will be bold for once, and ask for a divorce myself. After saying this, she didn't wait for everyone's reaction. Get the people I brought as dowry, and quickly load up whatever can be moved. Head home immediately. Everything has to be fast. We need to leave before they realize what is happening. Because not only am I leaving, I am going to leave with great fame. On this day, the whole city certainly got an eyeful of the spectacle. The third daughter, in-law of the Duke of Zhongguo's estate, is making a scene, demanding a divorce. The whole city is in an uproar. This is exactly what I wanted. I still remember. In my past life, this happened too. Wang Yu was making a scene about taking Zhang Fu as a concubine. It is just that everyone told me. It is very normal for men to have 3 wives and 4 concubines. Besides, I couldn't bear him even a single child, so I was in the wrong to begin with. As a wife, I had to be magnanimous and couldn't be jealous. I was a merchant reeking of copper, undeserving of even a speck of benefit. But, don't forget, I was sought in marriage by his Duke's manor to repay a debt of gratitude. Just watch how I, this mere merchant's daughter, take back everything they took from me, getting it all back with interest. Got back home. My family was pleasantly surprised by my return. The joy naturally came from being able to see the daughter he'd been longing for. What alarmed them was, with me coming back suddenly like this, they feared I'd suffered some grievance. I told them about Wang Yu wanting to take a concubine. Mom and Dad were instantly heartbroken. Grandfather was even more furious. That Wang Shou, back then, if it weren't for me, he would have died on the battlefield long ago. Since he asked to marry you, how dare he treat you like dirt? Back then, when the Duke of Zhen wasn't the Duke of Zhen yet, he met Grandfather, who traveled north and south, on a battlefield at the frontier. It was Grandfather who donated over 100 carts of supplies to the army that had run out of food and reinforcements. It solved the army's desperate crisis, allowing them to narrowly win in the end. These are all things Grandfather told me only right before I was married off, so that I wouldn't feel inferior because of my status at the Duke's manor. But I was really too stupid. I didn't understand Grandfather's painstaking care at all. Luckily, I now have the chance to live a life over again. Thinking of this, I couldn't wait to tell Grandfather about the rebirth. It is a serious matter, so I only dared to tell Grandfather alone. I didn't even tell Dad and Mother. At first, Grandfather didn't believe in such miraculous things either. I mentioned a few things that I couldn't possibly know given my status, and a few things that would happen in a few days. Only then did Grandfather have no choice but to believe. Grandfather is the head of our Kui family. To turn the tide, we must mobilize the strength of the entire clan. That day, Grandfather and I talked deeply all night, just to seek a glimmer of a chance at survival. These few days back home have been the most comfortable days I've had since I got married. I couldn't be bothered with the gossip outside. Those who didn't know the inside story were all secretly mocking me, laughing at me for becoming the discarded wife of the Duke's estate. Fortunately, there were people Grandfather and I had arranged. Before a few days had passed, rumors about the Duke's estate began to flow out. The Duke of Zhongguo fishes for fame and reputation. He is fundamentally not a good person. He dotes on his youngest son and torments the daughter of his savior. The inner courtyard is in chaos, allowing his descendants to fool around with an unmarried cousin. It seems like someone even died. Some busybodies claimed they saw a cousin's personal maid secretly buying medicine to prevent a miscarriage. They described it so vividly, they could even tell you which personal maid it was, and what she was wearing. You couldn't help but be convinced. This could really only be described as a romantic affair. At most, I'll just end up with a charge of lax household discipline. But in the royal court, if you reveal even the slightest slip-up, there are plenty of mad dogs coming up to bite. So people started saying that Duke Zhongguo couldn't even manage his own household properly. How could he lead a great army? Every day the military power remains in his hands. Our great Chu is in that much more danger. I also heard that memorials impeaching Duke Zhongguo drifted into the palace like snowflakes. It was only at this moment that the Duke of Zhongguo's estate panicked. How do I know they panicked? Because the gatekeeper said Wang Yu had come. I won't see him. Wang Yu came several times in a row, but I didn't let him in. A few days later, my subordinates sent back news. The Duke's estate has been arranging matches for Zhang Fu these past few days. Finally, they selected one, a scholar from Lingnan. The marriage was hastily settled, and they were packed up and sent back to Lingnan, never to enter the capital again in this lifetime. Zhang Fu naturally refused, but she had already offended the Duchess completely. Without the Duchess's help, she was isolated and helpless. As for Wang Yu, I heard that the Duke of Zhongguo only gave him a slight warning, and he gave up. When the news came back, a huge wave of happiness hit me. Zhang Fu, who weighed on me like a mountain in my previous life, was defeated just like that. It turns out, nothing is invincible. When the Duke of Zhongguo came to ask me to go back for the third time, I chose to return. Inside the bedroom, Wang Yu had a gloomy face. Ever since I came back, he hasn't given me a pleasant look. I am afraid he is settling this score with me. Vicious woman. You harmed for. Don't think I can't do anything to you. When it comes down to it, I am your husband, which means I am your sky. At this point, I don't intend to pretend anymore. My sky, my male pet, is more like it. Glare at me all you want. It won't change the fact that your father sent you out to repay a debt of gratitude. If that is not a male pet, then what is? It really is different when you are out of favor. Look at eldest brother and second brother. Aren't they both prodigies? You are the only one who got singled out. These words really hit him where it hurts. He was so furious that he flung his sleeves and stormed off. I didn't say anything wrong anyway. However, the look in his eyes as he left was so vicious it terrified me. He probably wanted nothing more than to eat my flesh and drink my blood. But how could I give him the chance? Naturally, it is best to strike first. Striking first gives you the upper hand, and not just in the inner courtyard, but also in the royal court. Grandfather is handling that side of things, and I am responsible for providing grandfather with intel. Which ones are Duke Jungwo's people, and which are his enemies. Right now, I am buying loyalty within the manor. As long as there is plenty of money, it is a breeze. The brother of the sweeping maid and my mother. In-law's room suddenly fell gravely ill. Reward her with 100 taels of silver. The first master's outer court page boy was being chased for debt, so I paid it off for him. Of course, I did all this very covertly, and they were all inconspicuous people. Although I spent a lot of money, not every payment was useful, but as long as 1 or 2 out of 10 paid off, that was enough. Without anyone noticing, I had already gained control of half the servants. Then I integrated and connected the news they passed on. This allowed me to get any information I wanted. Under the joint attack of my grandfather and me, from both inside and out, the whole estate was in chaos. So naturally no one came to give me trouble. Things are going smoothly, but the crown prince was born to the first empress. The reason the crown prince became the crown prince is because he, too, was once favored. It is a pity that it was aunts. The first empress and his majesty were married in their youth. The affection of youth is always pure, especially when the empress passed away. His majesty immediately named their only child the crown prince. But even the strongest affection is no match for a beauty. The second prince was born to this beautiful, noble consort. In my past life, it was the second prince who ascended the throne and wiped out my entire Kui family. In this life, I absolutely won't let him succeed in taking the throne. At this time in my past life, the crown prince was already struggling in the imperial court. Money, he needs money, and I don't have much of anything else, just lots of money. Inside Changsin Temple, inside the Buddhist hall, a young man is kneeling in front of the Buddha statue. Incomparably devout. I didn't know how long I had been standing there. My legs were already sore and numb. The young man finally spoke. "Do you know the consequences of deceiving this prince?" I said calmly. "I don't know, and will never know, because I will never deceive your highness." "Yes, the young man before me is the crown prince. This is a meeting opportunity I only secured after spending 1,000,000 taels of silver. Don't give me that bullshit about a lone man and a lone woman in a room together. If I am going to die anyway, would I still care about that?" I continued. "To show my sincerity, I have a great gift to present to your highness." Only then did Li Shun cast a look of interest at me. "What great gift? Your highness just needs to wait and see. This humble woman only asks that after the deed is done, you give my family a path to survival." Granted. Very good. Another small step towards success. Actually, when I first married into the Duke's mansion, I also felt lucky. When we first got married, Wang Yu wasn't that excessive either. He was of noble birth, handsome in appearance, and treated me fairly well. I fell for him and felt incredibly lucky. It seemed quite reasonable, right? Especially back then, I was just a young girl in the prime of her youth. It was only normal to have my heart moved. It is just that later he changed. Or perhaps he didn't change. He just didn't want to pretend anymore. In my previous life, I couldn't see through it. How could someone who has died once not understand? Recently, Wang Yu has been getting very close to the second prince's people. It seems that even without my dowry, he is still the same as in the previous life. No, there are differences too. At this time in my past life, I still remember he bragged to me that latching on to the second prince was like stepping onto a ladder to heaven. Right now, he is still a marginal figure. The fact that he can only interact with the people around the second prince, rather than the second prince himself, is proof enough. Excellent. The big gift for Crown Prince Li Shun is ready. My Kui family has been in business for generations. To become the richest in Great Shu, we do have some deep foundations. We have all kinds of resources, be it people or otherwise. The plan Taylor made for Wang Yu is complete. The Duke's mansion, which had been quiet for a while, became lively again. Turns out, the third master of the Duke's mansion got drunk at a brothel and got into a fight over a whore. He even beat the man to death. If the one he fought with was an ordinary person, it wouldn't have blown up at all. But he ran into an iron plate, because the other party is the Marquis of Wuwei's only legitimate son. Marquis Wuwei had a son in his old age, so naturally he was extremely doting. Now that his only legitimate son had been beaten to death, he wished he could eat their flesh and drink their blood. Right now, Marquis Wuwei is leading his men and blocking the entrance to the Duke's mansion, clamoring for Wang Yu to pay with his life. At this moment, Wang Yu is kneeling in the main hall. Dad, I was drunk at the time. I really didn't mean to. I don't know what happened either. I just felt really out of it. I didn't hit that hard. Simone definitely framed me. Dad, you gotta save me. I don't want to die yet. After sobering up, Wang Yu was disheveled and grimy, showing not a shred of the demeanor of a noble scion. You unfilial son, it is all my fault for spoiling you too much in the past, allowing you to cause such a huge disaster. Even I can't save you now. I can only try my best to preserve your life. If you don't pay a price, it will be hard to quell Marquis Wuwei's anger. Today, I am going to break one of your legs. Don't blame me. With that, ignoring Wang Yu's pleas, he ordered his men to take action. Looking at Wang Yu, who was like a stray dog, I felt incredibly exhilarated. That is right. This is the trap I set. He fools around with people all day long. I just needed my men to slip a little something into his drink to make him impulsive. Then, when he was beating someone up, secretly, help him. As for my people, after the deed was done, I had already sent them away. By the time they realized what happened, it was already too late. It is not enough. This is just the prelude to this grand gift. Marquis Wuwei's only child is dead, and the killer only paid the price of a leg. Naturally, he wouldn't just let it go. It is just that regarding this matter, neither side was clean, and the Duke of Zhengguo fought desperately to save Wang Yu's life. For the time being, there was nothing he could do. Impeaching the Duke of Zhengguo in court was essential. Marquis Wuwei was also from a military background, and this was the perfect chance to carve up the Duke of Zhengguo's military power. And certainly, he wouldn't let the real culprit Wang Yu off the hook. As soon as he investigated, he found Wang Yu was the second prince's man. Officials are the most suspicious sort. Even a military general is no exception. Could it be that the second prince failed to win him over and is seeking revenge? Just let these two fight it out. This is exactly the result I wanted. Wang Yu was crippled in one leg. The Duke of Zhengguo lost his military power, and the second prince is being targeted by the Marquis of Wuwei. 2 months later, the Marquis of Wuwei accused the second prince of embezzling disaster relief silver. The entire court was shocked. Everyone underestimated a father's determination. His Majesty was furious. He ordered a thorough investigation into this matter. His Majesty's attitude was way too unexpected. In the past, His Majesty was always lenient toward the second prince for the noble consort's sake. This time, however, he didn't intend to let it go lightly. The second prince's cronies didn't dare speak up for him at this moment either. Everyone was fearing for their own safety. How could I possibly let this opportunity slip by? I had people gather more dirt on the second prince and release it. The second prince allowed his wicked servants to seize commoners' fields and even silence the old farmer's entire family. The second prince was selling government posts and titles, although they were all just minor officials and clerks. But this definitely crossed the red line. Imperial power is not for others to covet. His Majesty gave orders to have the second prince detained and locked up. No one is allowed to visit. I know, the crown prince had a hand in this too. Merchants alone couldn't possibly sniff out such incredible news. Victory is right before my eyes, yet my eyelid keeps twitching. It seems like some danger is about to happen. On this day, I was in my room checking this month's ledgers. Relying on memories from my past life, my dowry has already doubled. It is an astronomical figure that no one would dare to imagine. Suddenly, the door was kicked open. "You bitch! It is you! You are the one who ruined me, aren't you?" It was Wang Yu. He came in leaning on a crutch. It looks like he found some clues about what happened before. "I don't know what you are talking about." Of course I wouldn't admit it. Still won't admit it. The person drinking with me that day was your man. I've already told Father. You've ruined me like this. Even if the Kui family showed Father the greatest kindness, it is all gone now. Wang Yu looked like his eyes were about to split with rage, just like a madman. He even wanted to order the servants to beat me to death. The people in my courtyard aren't pushovers either. The two groups fought until everything was turned upside down. In the end, it was the Duke of Zhongguo who brought people over to separate them. What followed was, inevitably, an interrogation. I insisted firmly that this had nothing to do with me. What? My people? U.S. merchants come and go every day, meeting God knows how many people. I certainly don't remember who he is talking about. The Duke of Zhongguo had no choice but to temporarily lock me in the courtyard. He looked incredibly forlorn, so when Wang Yu came in, no one stopped him at all. His face was dark and gloomy. The way he looked at me, it was as if I was as good as dead. I felt uneasy. Then I saw a servant boy holding a bowl of black liquid in his hands. "Make her drink it," Wang Yu said. I could only struggle desperately. "I won't drink it. What are you making me drink? If I die, Father will never let this go. My grandfather won't let you off either. You have no chance left. Don't think that just because you've latched onto the crown prince, you can win. No, soon he won't be the crown prince anymore. The ultimate winners will be me and the second prince." Wang Yu pinched my chin, his face almost touching the tip of my nose. "Father won't agree. Guess how I got in. As for that old bastard of a grandfather of yours, I am afraid he can hardly save his own skin. A devil. He is simply a devil." He took the medicine bowl from the servant boy's hand. "Don't be afraid. Drinking it once won't kill you. Before I've had my fun, how could I bear to let you die?" The scalding liquid flowed down my throat. It hurt so much. Maybe the drug was kicking in. It felt like thousands upon thousands of ants were gnawing at my body. I don't know how much time passed. It felt like a lifetime had gone by. I was soaked through. I wanted to get up, but my whole body was sore and limp. Sharu helped me up. "Miss, why go this far? You didn't have to suffer this." I shook my head and replied to her, "It is a critical moment now, and we can't afford to show a single flaw. Paying this price is nothing. Yes, just now was merely an act I put on. There are people planted by the crown prince in the manor. Everyone has underestimated the crown prince's power. There is no telling how many people want to gamble for the merit of following the dragon. Arranging a person or two to protect me is nothing more than lifting a finger. It can also get my grandfather and even the Kui family to further support him with the strength of the whole clan. For him, it is practically a deal with massive returns. Just like that, Wang Yu comes to humiliate me every day. He had just left when someone came to bring me the antidote. On this day, a small note was also delivered along with the antidote. Be careful with everything. Burn the note. I know. Now is the time we stand poised for action. There are noticeably more guards in the manor. Wang Yulai didn't come by that often anymore. Finally, on this night, bursts of hoofbeats came from outside, along with all kinds of sounds of fire and slaughter. The second prince has rebelled. We finally waited for this moment. The smell of blood fills the air. This night, who knows how many heads have rolled? I don't know how many people will soar into the sky. Although I've been looking forward to this moment for a long time, and have already made preparations, but I still can't stop worrying. Will it work? Will I still die at the hands of the second prince, Wang Yu and the others, just like in my past life? No one knows until the dust settles. The smell of tung oil drifted to my nose. Not good. Samanan is starting a fire. I hurriedly ran outside. But I was blocked by a figure. It is Wang Yu, such a strong smell of blood. Lost? I've lost. You bitch, if I can't live, you can't live either. Let's just die together. Ha 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 ha. Let's all die together. At this moment, he had no rationality to speak of. I didn't want to say much to him either, afraid of provoking him. Not to mention, he is still holding a fire starter in his hand. If he lights that fire starter, we're both dead for sure. I don't want to die with him. He is the one who should die. Don't come any closer. Come over here and I'll kill her right now. Crap. He has already realized there is someone secretly protecting me. The fire starter in his hand swayed unsteadily. You don't want to live, but do you not care about Jiang Fu either? She is in my hands right now. If I die, she won't live either. She loves you so much. Can you bear to watch her die? 4? No way. Seeing Wang Yu reveal a puzzled expression, I cursed him 100 times in my mind. So this is your so-called expression. It hasn't even been that long, and you've already forgotten all about me. So his feelings were this fragile, but that split second of distraction was enough. I pulled out the silver hairpin and with all her might, plunged it into his throat. The warm blood made me feel sick and excited. This person who brought me a lifetime of nightmares died just like that, looking at the way he died with his eyes wide open. I felt extremely gratified. The crown prince successfully ascended the throne, ushering in the first year of the Chongzheng era. Once the situation stabilized, the rewarding of merits began. The Kui family had made significant contributions in this campaign. Grandfather was also titled the Earl of Yongchun, a title hereditary for 3 generations. He would enjoy the stipend but hold no actual office. Lady Kui, you have performed meritorious service this time as well. Have you decided what reward you would like? Your subject wishes to do business all over the world for your majesty, ensuring your majesty has no worries for the future. Granted. The imperial decree came down very quickly. I was titled the County Mistress of Yuguo and specially granted 50 guards. Just like that, I led my own team and traveled to every corner of the land. In the south, I ate fresh lychees and transported them to the north. In the north, I saw boundless grasslands and transported wool to everywhere. Amidst all this trading, I naturally made a fortune. Supplies for the common people were no longer so scarce, and everyone's lives improved. In the 5th year of Chongzheng, I learned that there were still many other countries in this world. A determination to explore them and see for myself arose within me. I assembled my team, building ships, stocking supplies, and setting off, although I had a handwritten letter from His Majesty. Not every country knew of Great Chu. We were even locked up as spies at one point, and were also treated as honored guests. In a small country in the south, I discovered a crop called sweet potato, which had an extremely high. I brought it back to Great Chu from. Then on, the people of my Great Chu no longer suffered from famine. In my later years, I could no longer walk. By then, I had been titled the Princess Protector of the Nation. Under my leadership, women could also go out to do business. I adopted a girl from the clan to inherit my mantle. Who knows which nook or cranny she is running wild in right now? Why not give birth to one yourself? There are too many interesting things in this world. I really didn't have the time to bear children. And too many good men, too. That handsome dark-skinned gentleman, the white-skinned blue-eyed foreigner. It was all too hard to choose. Me, this princess. This life has been worth it.